So this was an all pick starting out, so I guess what I'll do is I'll pause and do a quick... So I don't know the bands, which is unfortunate. I really need to turn off my music. Okay, so we'll start out with this. Here we go. My music's sitting there just going away. Okay, so to start off with, on ICCup, we've got PGG on Chaos Knight, with We Just Zik on Rubik, EDE on Coddle, J4 on Brewmaster, and Hexor on Queen of Pain. It looks like they probably will be looking to... Well, I don't want to say that they're not going to send the Chaos Knight mid, but I think they'll send the Chaos Knight bottom, Brewmaster mid, and let the Queen of Pain go solo top. With Rubik and Coddle, that would be a pretty strong tri-lane, but that also allows Chaos Knight to maybe dual mid against probably Night Stalker. That might be the smart thing to do, to dual mid against him, just so Chaos Knight can get uncontested farm and Night Stalker gets shut down. But at the same time, you know, they have the flexibility to choose at this point. They've Brewmaster, he can solo, but he can also, you know, if you put a lane support in with Brewmaster, he's not going to complain. On Pulse side, we've got Wagamama on the Gyrocopter. We have Dota Region on Bounty Hunter. Mini on a Wisp. Night Stalker is Pinoy Dota, and Fishbone on a Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon and Wisp gives away a very aggressive early to mid game. Wisp by himself is a rather useless hero, but teamed up with somebody else, he becomes exponentially stronger. He increases their strength as well as his own. That's mainly given away by his tether. His tether is only a stun if he's tethered to somebody else, and you're able to get on either side of that person. Shadow Demon is also very aggressive support, so I wouldn't be surprised to see an aggressive tri-lane with probably built around... I don't know if they'll do... See, they might do something interesting. I'm not familiar with Pulse Gaming and what they prefer to run. They might actually send the aggressive supports with the Bounty Hunter and use them to roll mid, or they might go with the Gyrocopter and just give him free farm. Unless they're not sending Night Stalker mid. If they send Night Stalker to the safe lane, they might just put the supports with the Night Stalker. And so I guess I'll just start the game back up, see what they choose. But Pulse does have an extremely aggressive lineup with Shadow Demon, Wisp, and Night Stalker going into the 6 or 7 or 8 minute mark. I expect to see a whole lot of roaming from their team, especially with the Bounty Hunter track. On the other side, it's fairly aggressive with the Chaos Knight, Rubik, and Quap, but Coddle is a much safer hero to pick. He kind of prevents the push from the other team, and so it kind of defers them going into later mid game and maybe trying to hold out to late game when Chaos Knight actually just completely starts one-shotting the enemy team. Alright, let's start this game up. Let's see what lanes they choose. So as I said, I'm not familiar with the playstyles of these particular teams, and so I might see some interesting things. But they are going to try lane around the Gyrocopter on Pulse Gaming, and we are going to see the Chaos Knight in the safe lane. It looks like Hexor is going down for an early First Blood. We got some smack talk going on between the teams. So 5-man roaming down to the rune from ICCup, but Bounty Hunter is going to spot them out. The question is going to be, so Quap has some early sentries. She knows there's going to be a roaming Bounty Hunter down here. The question is going to be is she drops one of these and they actually catch the Bounty Hunter roaming around.
30 seconds to battle.
Something interesting that Bounty Hunter just did is block this small camp. And one reason he might be doing that is to stop Coddle from farming. I've seen a lot of Coddles farm the small camp with their Illuminate, so that you can kind of have a farm support. Just a little harass from the Quap to the Bounty Hunter. But there's a lot of something a bit different up here. That's gonna be first blood. Maybe not. Yeah, he just kind of stood there.
What is this? I came here to be.
I don't know. He just gave up on life. He stopped moving. Killed him too late. Reported. Yeah, I don't know what's going on between these two teams, but there is going to be an aggressive tri-lane. They chose not to send the Chaos Knight. I guess they spotted the Bounty Hunter, and perhaps they were expecting an aggressive tri-lane from Pulse, which is why they initially had the Chaos Knight headed bottom. But as soon as they spotted the Bounty Hunter down there, they rotated top to meet the other tri-lane. I think this early first blood though does give them the advantage in this, and it's going to be really hard for the Shadow Demon, Wisp, and Gyro to dive on this Chaos Knight and perhaps get any kills on him. Especially with Rubik and Coddle. Rubik picking anybody up gives Coddle enough time to charge Illuminate, and that's a lot of early damage. 200 damage at level 1 spell is a lot of damage. Right here was a bit of miscommunication, but it looks like it still turns out okay on the Chaos Knight. They're gonna get a triple kill. So, right there at the beginning of that engagement, Shadow Demon orbed, and Gyrocopter already had his rocket barrage going. We're gonna have more kills up here. Wow. These guys are just diving on each other at this point. There's not much coordination between the two teams. But it was interesting to see Shadow Demon disrupt right here. He disrupted the Rubik, and Gyrocopter already had his rocket barrage. His rocket barrage missed a lot of the damage. They could have killed Rubik before Rubik got any spells off. Night Demon is gonna, or Night Stalker, Night Demon. Night Stalker is gonna guess correctly on the rune mid though. Let's see. Let's look at their last hits. That's really the easiest way to tell a double melee. So he's got rune control, but I mean a regen rune isn't really as powerful as maybe getting a double damage in a double melee setup. Because I mean the harass isn't really too great between them. It's more of the last hits and denies. And Brewmaster has 5 more last hits. That's a whole creep wave and an extra creep over the Night Stalker. In the bottom lane, Quap is sitting nice with her sentries. I bet Bounty Hunter's having a pretty rough time just with her early Shadow Strike. So, unlike going in a Clinks in the long lane, Bounty Hunter, when he goes invisible, does not get a movement speed buff. His movement speed stays exactly the same. And so once you cancel out his invisibility, as a long lane hero, he's really inferior to something like Clinks or Broodmother. So Queen of Pain, getting that early level in Shadow Strike and having a Sentry Ward, she is not going to have any trouble with this Bounty Hunter. And she's actually probably walking all over him. So yeah, she's 12 and 6. And, well, Bounty Hunter's actually keeping up in this CK. But he is out of regen. And I don't believe I remember her starting with anything but a pair of tangos. So he hasn't been able to get a lot of harass on her. And she's already cleaned him out. Top lane's still extremely aggressive though. I mean I should have expected it knowing that PGG was in the game, because one thing I do know about him is he enjoys diving on people, and that's what's been going on top the entire game so far. So got a haste rune from the Brewmaster. And this may not have been the smartest tower dive. That's one of the powers of Shadow Demon right there. Oh man. So Brewmaster mid with the haste rune, coming in with that level 3 thunderclap. That was enough burst damage just to clean both those out. But I don't know that it was really all that fair of a trade since they did lose the